Hello everyone, welcome to JCE Connect channel. So in this class, we'll study about the safety things in construction industry. So in the previous class, we have discussed safety things during the demolition part and all. So now moving on to the next type, where exactly we need to follow the more safety precautions things. That is safety measures for the hot bituminous works. So the following safety measures should be adopted while dealing with the hot bituminous work. During the road construction and all, might we have seen that bituminous will get heated up. Okay, so that time when it reaches to the standard melting point, and then they will add those aggregates which are specified as per the Indian code. So at the time of heating and all, how exactly we need to take care of the things without giving the chance for the accident. So, an experienced foreman or supervisor should be made in charge of the work just to take the guard against the use defective or unsafe appliances. Means they need to check each and everything about the safety precautions that which are necessary for the safety. In the hot bituminous works. So they will be having certain rights to take the actions if they are not followed any of them. Okay, and the equipment as well as the tools, and he should keep a stock of fire extinguishing devices and the first aid kits, because might be you have seen while heating the bitumen, sometimes it may catches fire, right? First it catches with a flash and then it may turns to fire. So that time they should keep some necessary safety precautions things. If anything the fire catches and all, they need to apply those fire extinguishing devices, as well as the if any something happens while working on that, even the first aid is also much useful. Then workers must be provided boots, gloves, goggles, helmets and other protective accessories, because since it is a hot, and even it's better to wear the jackets which should be much useful, and it reduces the heat which will get generated by the hot bituminous plant. Okay, and the boots and gloves are also much important, because everything which is with the hot material, and if something falls on, the skin will get burned for the sure. And then sufficient stock of clean dry sand or looser should be kept ready at the work site, just to cope up with any resultant of the fire, because at that time you don't get any of the material which should turn off the fire. So better to take some loose earth soil, as well as the dry clean sand, which is much suitable to turn off the fire which will get developed at the high melting point of the bituminous plant. Okay, and when much materials are not available, arrangement must be made for adequate supply of the water, just to extinguish the fire. Okay, if such materials are not available, then also they need to arrange the water before starting such works. And working platform should be provided while laying the hot bitumen, because since it's a hot material, they should have certain platform to work on those materials. So sufficient space should be available to work on that. Then when bitumen plants are working on a public road, an adequate traffic control must be established, because even it may the might be you have seen while going on the road, half of the road it should be under in a construction by using this hot bituminous works. So that time the people those who are working on that, everyone have would safety precaution things such as boots, helmets, goggles, gloves and all. So but those who are working other half of the road, so they will not be knowing about the works and all. So that time if something happens to them while either while laying the hot bituminous mix, either while mixing that bitumen, something it may get damages to the people those who are working other half of them. So for them also necessary precautions has to be made, such that while controlling the traffic, they should be much aware about the people those who are using other half of the road. And then moving on to the next part, that is safety measures for scaffolding, ladders, formworks and other equipment. So this is especially comes under in the execution part of concrete work and all. So that time scaffolding and all it is much necessary, especially the scaffolding is provided at the outside of the building just for the external plastering purpose, and ladders and all just to use, it is used at the height of more than 1.5 meter for ceiling works and all. In formwork and all, it's just to place the concrete. So where we are using these all aspects, so we need to take certain necessary precautions things just to overcome the accident rates. And all the scaffolds and working platform should be securely fastened so that it should be tightened with a nut and bolt without any further movement or without applying any load. It should not change its place from one place to another place. So it should be securely fastened to the building or permanent structures so that it should be stiffly hold so that you can work at any cost on the such platforms without causing any accident. If independent of a building, they should be braced or guide properly. In case of scaffolds are to be kept for a long period, a regular plank stairway or wide enough to allow two persons to pass should be erected with the handrails on both the sides. Okay. And then when work is being carried out over a scaffold platform, a protective overhead covering should be provided for the men working on the scaffold so that if something fall from the height, it should be easily resisted by those protective overhead covering. So better to use such case and we can reduce the causes of accidents. And all wooden ladders or bamboo ladders must be strong enough because sometimes that wood may be with a longer age. So when sudden load is applied, if one member got break, entire the other top scaffoldings or ladders may get failed. So they are strong enough to take the necessary loads which are carrying out by the top. Safety measures for excavation. So prior to the excavation work, a complete knowledge of underground structures such as sewers, water pipes, gas mains, etc., which is essential so as to proper precautions to prevent any accident. So first we need to understand the ground, that which type of ground it is, and whether any sewer lines are passing through that, whether any water pipes are there or whether any gas mains are there. So we need to check it properly so that we'll come to know that one while excavation part so that we can reduce the number of accidents. So proper precautionary things are to be used in the excavation part. And the workers must be provided with all the protective devices such as helmets and all and even the gumboots so that any sinking of the sand or soil it may reduced by those gumboots. Then when depth of the excavation exceeds 2 meter, the trenches should be securely shored and timbered. So trenches are temporary support so that it has been provided at the time of excavation part. So those trenches and all it should be properly secured and it should be tied to the hard surfaces which is provided at the excavation part. And then the sheathing should be placed against the side of the trench so that in case of loose or soft soil, that sheathing should be driven into the bottom of the trench. And then excavated material should be kept away from the edge of the trench because sometimes it may fell in the excavated part, might be the workers can be will be using that depth or whatever the excavated place. So we need to free from those all materials which are there on top so that it should not disturb to that. Heavy equipment such as excavating machineries, trucks, etc. should be kept away at a suitable distance from the excavated sites because that place is already excavating and whatever the soil will be there, it's like a loose soil. So when certain load is applied on the top soil, might be with some shear forces, it may get fall into the excavated places. So the heavy loaded equipments or trucks or tractors, whatever which is there, so it should be placed far from that excavated place, or else even that accidents may take place with those vehicles also. And then a fence or barricade should be erected, and at the night the area must be properly lightened so that whatever the work is to be carried out, it should be easily visible to the workers. And then during at the place explosives drillings and blasting, the following safety measures should be adopted at the time of drilling and blasting. The first thing is the detonators and other explosives for blasting shall be transported to the site of working in the original containers or in the secure locked separate non-metallic container, so that here the chances of explosives may takes in between the transportation itself. So for that we need to take necessary precautions such that it should be transported to the site in the original containers. If you just carrying that one in the normal vehicles and all, again it will be very difficult, so that they require certain containers such that these detonators as well as the explosives will be there in its original position. And then in the separate non-metallic containers, sometimes even the metallic containers might be, it may get reacts, and the blasting may takes place within the vehicle itself, and it should not be carried loose or mixed with the other materials. And the care should be taken in the loading and unloading of explosives. The shield containers shall not be handled roughly or dropped. These explosives shall be stored only in a magazine which is clean, dry, well ventilated, because it should be easily visible, and even it should not react with any of the materials which is placed just beside that. And reasonably it should be cool, because when the temperature is high, might be the chances of explosives may take place because of exterior heat or temperature. And it should be correctly located and protected against the lightning. Any package containing explosives shall not be dragged, dropped, or handled roughly, and the packages shall be opened at a safe distance. The smoking shall not be permitted, because sometimes the ash or whatever the small fire things might be, it may get damages that entire explosives in the vehicle itself. So that smoking is strictly should be strictly prohibited in the current area. And all the matches or open lights, fire, flame, most of the fire parts are to be minimized during such places. And blasting shall be carried out only with the permission of the engineers in charge. It's not like just blasting can be done randomly by taking any other persons. That engineer has to be there, and he will be pre-planned with all the aspects that how to blast the these detonators as well as this blasting materials. So he will be having the clear idea that how to blast that. So with the presence of the engineer only, we can blast that. Then safety campaign. So with the increase in number of the accidents in the construction industry, it has become the essentials to educate people in regard to the safety measures. So most of the people, they are illiterate, like especially the laborers, those who are working in high-rise buildings and all. So for that, we need to give the proper idea that how exactly they need to do the work without causing any accidents. For that, they need to use the safety things and all. Since they will be having less idea about the safety things and all, so we need to give a session, or we need to train them to use the safety precautionary things. And then it is the duty of management to provide a safe working environment to the workers at construction sites. So that site should be clean enough to work by the workers, such that no other thing should get harmed to the workers. So like that, we need to clean the site and we need to maintain it in well manner. And one way of making people aware of safety measures is to launch safety campaigns, so that in that campaign they will come to know that how exactly they should be free from the accidents, and which are the necessary precautions they need to consider. In addition to providing the preventive measures at the work of site, and frequent exchange of ideas between the labor and management, that would help in minimizing the accident rate. So they should be communicating with each other in the work part, so that if any accidents are to be chances of accidents are to be taken place, it should be minimized just by the awareness of the other person. The continuing education program using posters, booklets, film lectures, and discussions with the emphasis on supervisory safety training will prove effective in reducing the accident rate. Means we need to give some booklets or we need to publish the posters at the workplace such that what we have to do, and what we should not do. So just by looking at the posters, they will come to know that which are the necessary precautions they need to consider. And in sometimes during in the safety campaign, we need to show them the videos that if in high-rise building, if a person is not following any safety precautionary things, which type of accidents he may feel. So just by showing that, they will get some awareness, and even they will also follow the safety things. And health and safety issues for construction workers, for pain or injury from the over-exertion. So that type of problems may face, and repetitive manual tasks or working in uncooperative postures. This means might be the muscles may get catch by continuous working at the same place. So that's also an issue of this health and safety. And exposures to the molds, fungi or rodent droppings, so that breathing problems may take place. And exposures to the paints, lead, wood dust, asbestos, and toxic chemical solutions. So that's also causes some damages to the lungs. So we need to take the necessary precautions for that, such as by wearing masks and all. Working in extreme conditions like high temperatures and UV radiations. So there we need to take the necessary jackets and all. So that time it's better to use those UV radiations jackets, so that it should be much useful without causing any damages. Personal protective equipment such as PPE, like helmets, gumboots, protective clothing, and other garments or equipments which are designed to protect the wearer's body from the injury by the blunt impacts, or even the electrical hazards or heat, chemicals. You can take any hazardous items, so it can be managed by this personal protective equipment. And the required PPEs for the construction workers are like head protections. We have to wear safety helmets. It should be for from top management to the lower management. Foot protections like safety footwear and gumboots. Wearing appears like glasses and all. And then personal fall protections for full body harness. Rope should be tied up during working at the high rise building. And then eye and face protections and respiratory protections, especially at the part of dust and all. The breathing problems may take place below that. So we need to take the necessary precautions just to overcome these all problems. So safety things, following the safety rules and regulations is much more important in the construction industry, so that it saves the person's life as well as that entire family. Okay, so considering the safety things in the construction industry, even though not only for the laborers, even the top management people, if they are visiting the site, they should wear the gumboots, they should wear the helmets and gloves. So that's much necessary for everyone. So kindly, it's a much suggestion to the most of the people, if you are working in the site and all, that safety precautionary things are much more important for the each of the person.